I'm Will Murray, this is Jack Croft.
And this is the Great British Chef's Signature Series.
Obviously, most chefs go to their suppliers and say, we want the best ingredient, like right now, at its absolute peak. But often we're talking to our suppliers and we're saying, what have you got spare? What have you got left over? That sort of dictates how we put dishes together.
When we started, we were quite naive. There's one thing having good creative ideas, and another thing to run a business. You needed to do something that the public was going to react to, so we had to change from doing what we wanted to do to what would actually sell. And to be honest, I think our product is actually much better for it.
We've been working together 4 years now. We're very different people, but we've got complementary skill sets, so it works really well as a restaurant.
Hey, I'm Jack Croft.
I'm Will Murray.
And today we're here at Fallow and we're going to show you how to make an English tomato dish with red pepper dressing.
It's just super seasonal. Like we've got some awesome red peppers, which we smoke, get a really amazing smoky flavour through there. You've got the best tomatoes in the world. We match that with some beautiful ricotta and a beautiful courgette puree. It's just stunning ingredients, nicely put together. Nothing too complicated, easy to do at home, absolutely delicious. First up, what we're going to do, we're going to oil up our red peppers. And this is going to go into the base of the dish. It's kind of a gazpacho style sauce with a nice infusion of herbs, some beautiful red peppers that are just torched until they're black. So we want to get these really nice and charred and black, and then we're going to cook them down until they're nice and soft and tender and blitz them up. We're getting there with the colour now, so really nice and dark all over. Then we're just going to place a cover over it, put them in the oven and soften them. Cool, so these are our peppers. We've got a really nice colour on them. Now they're just going to go in the oven to soften.
So I've just got some lovely green courgettes here. All I've done is just cut them in half. And this is going to be the base for the courgette puree. So we're just going to get a little bit of English rapeseed oil. Just going to pop that into my pan on a medium heat. And then I'm just going to very finely slice the courgettes so they cook very quickly, because we're going to make a lovely courgette and basil puree. But we only want to cook it for about 5 or 6 minutes to keep it nice and fresh and keep the green colour, so that's why I need to cut everything nice and small. I've got my diced courgettes now, so just going to pop that into the pan with the oil. So once I put my courgettes in, I'm just going to turn the heat up to full, because the courgettes are obviously going to let out a lot of water while they're cooking. Just going to lightly season my the courgettes now with a bit of salt. I just keep cooking them. So the basil, I'm just going to finely chiffonade, which is just a fine slice. We are going to cook this out, so the size of the dice is not really that relevant, but the finer it is, the easier it is to blend afterwards. So I'm just going to finely slice it like so, and then that will go in once the courgettes are just cooked, and then we'll just cook the basil out for a further minute or two, and then straight into the blender. So just finished blending. Just going to take the lid off now, give it a little taste.
Banging, delicious.
Pretty good, good. So now we're just going to pass this through our chinois. We're going to chill it down, and then we're going to mix the ricotta through the courgette puree once it's cold. So it's nice and smooth, got a beautiful deep green colour. Cool. In my bowl here, I've got the courgette and basil puree we made a minute ago. That's just cooled down slightly. So to that now, I'm just going to add 50%, I'll say half the amount, in ricotta. We use English ricotta made in Bermondsey from a company called Capacase. Really nice artisan stuff. So yeah, 50% of the amount of courgette puree. We're going in ricotta, and then I'm just going to beat that together until it's really nicely mixed together. And then that's ready to go on the dish later.
Right, so now our peppers are really nice and soft. We're just going to really lightly peel them. Don't need to take too much of the skin off. It actually gives it a really nice charred flavour if you leave a little bit of it on.
You want to take the seeds out?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, chef.
Right, so all we do now, this is really good sauce because you can use all of those slightly bruised tomatoes. We actually ask our supplier to send us, they call them second-class tomatoes. And it just, to be honest, all it means when they're bruised is it means they're really soft, really sweet. So tomatoes go in. Place in the red peppers. This is the rapeseed oil. Really good quality English rapeseed oil. And now we just blitz that until it's nice and smooth. So we blitzed together the tomatoes and the roasted peppers.
Have a taste.
Lovely, nice and fresh.
Beautiful. So just going to finely slice my mint here. Just going to stack it all up together and then just run my knife through it nice and fine. And that we'll use that as a garnish when we plate up in a second. So just going to take a yellow courgette as well. And then on the angle, we're just going to cut some really nice, thin, sort of half moon, semicircle shapes.
We're just going to gently marinate some cherry tomatoes. Do this quite nicely ahead of time so they've got a little bit of time to macerate. A good amount of salt. We use this really good quality Cab Sav vinegar, rapeseed oil.
So while Will's doing the tomatoes, he's going to basically he's going to do a similar thing with the courgette ribbons. Just a few just to line it up. We've got the chiffonade mint. We're going to put a little bit on the tomatoes. And I'm going to put a little bit on the courgette as well. And just let that sit and marinate with them. And then to the courgettes as well, I'm going to add a little bit of toasted buckwheat. Just a light sprinkling, just adds a really nice sort of like little nutty sort of texture and crunch. And then I've also got some sliced pickled shallots, which I'm just going to add on top of the tomatoes. So the shallots have just been very thinly sliced, rinsed in cold water to take away the rawness of the onion, and then pickled after that. And then just a little bit of oil on my courgettes as well.
Okay, cool. So now we're going to marinate the tomatoes and the courgettes. So this is our beautiful gazpacho. Really nice sheen to it, lovely acidity, and this is going to go on the base of our dish. Do you want to go on with the courgette puree?
Perfect. So we're just going to put a few nice big dots of the courgette puree. Again, it adds a nice bit of creaminess to the dish, and then they got that nice background hit of the basil going through as well.
I think our style of presentation is not too fussy. For us, I think the work goes in on the prep and sourcing the right ingredients. I often think that the longer it takes something to plate, the worse it looks, to be quite honest. I think it's good to do things natural, keep it, just let the ingredients kind of shine for themselves. So we're just placing on the courgette now. They've just been dressed and they've got this lovely, lovely coating of chiffonade mint.
This is really good as a nice like summery starter. We quite often sell it in the restaurant as accompaniments to other dishes. So, you know, like a nice steak and then with this on the side is like a very different, nice, sort of our interpretation of a tomato side salad is lovely. Very versatile to have.
A few more dots of that beautiful green courgette puree.
So this is our English tomato with courgette, basil and a red pepper dressing.